It is time for us to begin. So thank you so much for joining us today. This is Webinar Wednesday, and March is National Nutrition Month. So we're going to be focusing on how OST programs can improve health and nutrition. The webinar will be recorded and posted on the Click to Science website. So if you want to share this with colleagues, I encourage you to go there. Usually takes us about 48 hours to get it posted, but it will be there. And this one I think is going to be one you might want to share with others. One of the things we know about what's happening today is that childhood obesity is a growing epidemic. And I really do think that out-of-school time programs have the potential to have some very positive impacts on healthy habits and healthy understandings. Today we're going to get into details about how programs can help participants build positive health and nutrition behaviors. And Daniel Hatcher from the Alliance for Healthier Generation is here today to help us understand what is working and what may be possible with out-of-school programs. Daniel, can you introduce yourself?
Absolutely, and thank you, Sandra, for having me today. I'm excited to talk to you all. Again, my name is Daniel Hatcher. I'm based in Washington, D.C., and I'm the Director of Community Partnerships for the Alliance for a Healthier Generation. I've been there for about 11 years now.
Because I can't hear you.
Uh-oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Sandra? Uh-oh, I think we might have some technical difficulties. Uh-oh. Sounds like everyone can hear me but you, Sandra. Sorry about that, everybody. One second.
Let's check one more time. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Sandra. Can you hear me? Thanks, Christina. You never know with technology. Well, maybe I'll ask a question while Sandra is working. Oh, can you hear me now? Awesome. Okay, Sandra. I can't hear you now, though. No, I can't hear you. So I was going to ask you a question. So if you're familiar with the Alliance for a Healthier Generation, can you put a smiley face or make a little note in the chat box? Thanks, Christina. Y'all will notice. Thanks, Kate. I love when people love Healthier Generation. You'll notice I love using this chat box, so I'll use it throughout my slides. Great. Lots of smiley faces.
All right. I switched my microphone. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I think we're set now.
There we go. Awesome.
We really did test all this before we started, and it worked fine.
That's okay.
All right. Well, I have just a little bit of background to share, and then we will go back and have Daniel tell us a little bit about his work and the resources that they have. I wanted to start out by building some understanding of what can happen, what after-school programs can do. All right, let's try this. All right. So what I wanted to talk about is how we, can you still hear me? I'm not sure it's working again.
I can hear you, Sandra.
Okay, great. Then I will keep going. We want to talk about how after-school programs really can make a difference. And I want to start with this idea. There we go. About why it's important. And what exactly the issues are that we're facing around health and nutrition. Studies show that children who are healthy and active learn better. They perform better academically, and they have fewer behavior problems in school and in their after-school programs. So these are all things that we want to promote and encourage. But many children are not getting the healthy food and physical activity they need every day, and we see this sometimes reflected in the behavior of children in our after-school programs. So there are resources available to help after-school and summer programs who are in a great position to help children and provide access to healthy and nutritious foods and promote healthy habits. We're going to be sharing today several resources that can help you do that. One of the things we want to address is the issue I mentioned earlier around obesity. Childhood obesity has more than doubled in children and quadrupled in adolescents in the past 30 years. In 2012, more than 1/3 of children and adolescents were overweight or obese. And I don't have the statistics currently, but I suspect that it's even higher. With these concerns in mind, we really want to promote the positive potential that out-of-school time programs have to impact children's health, not just now while they're in your program, but for their whole lifetime. One of the ways we do this is by providing nutritious snacks and meals. Children often arrive in the after-school program hungry and thirsty, and hunger and thirst make it difficult for them to focus and behave appropriately. Federal snack and meal programs offer nutrition standards that can help improve the quality of children's diet and create food security, which is going to have an emotional impact as well as a physical impact on children. Healthy meals and snacks support children's physical and mental health and their learning. Out-of-school time programs can help children develop healthy habits by providing nutritious and appealing foods, introducing new foods or local foods, and giving them consistent, accurate messages about nutrition and activities that can help them learn and practice healthy habits. And there are resources from CDC, the Center for Disease Control, for healthy schools that are specifically for out-of-school time. And I'll share a link to that with the recording. And it can help you find some of these supports that are in place. And Daniel also has some great resources that can help you implement nutritious snacks and meals for your program. The other component here that's very important is movement. Research shows us that physical activity benefits children in many ways. First, it's part of a healthy lifestyle, and habits around physical activity start in childhood and are continued through the rest of their life. Second, it benefits children immediately by improving their concentration and their memory. And perhaps most important, it's fun, and it can have an impact on their emotional well-being as well as their physical well-being. Well, I should say physical activity should be fun. So you want to look for activities that you can coordinate in your program that are developing healthy habits and positive attitudes toward physical activity because they're fun and they're inclusive. Coordination between the school day and after-school staff and administrators can really help provide those consistent messages and opportunities for children to develop healthy habits related to physical activity and nutrition. So that was kind of a very quick overview to set the stage that we want to provide an environment where there are resources and access to healthy snacks, healthy beverages, physical activity, but in a way that it's positive. It's promoting a positive relationship with food and with physical activity, and it's fun. And to do all that, there are a lot of resources out there for after-school programs. And that's why Daniel is here to introduce us to Alliance for a Healthier Generation and resources that can really help your after-school program. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides and turn it over to Daniel.
Great. Thank you, Sandra. So I'll pull up my slides here, and I'll also see if I can get the chat box up. There we go. Can you all see my see the slides?
Looks good to me.
Excellent. So maybe I'll ask another question for the chat box. So that was really great framing by Sandra. What's something that Sandra shared that stood out to you about healthy out-of-school time and the role of out-of-school, after-school programs in creating healthier places for kids? What stood out to you?
I'm seeing that some people cannot see the slides. You may want to check and see. For me, it got underneath another, something else on my window. But double check and let us know if anybody else is having trouble seeing the slides.
And I'll just adjust. Yeah, Ryan, thank you for those who are putting in the chat box. Ryan, great point about the addressing food insecurity and nutrition overall. I think one of the things that Sandra said that really stands out to me is partnering with schools and really approaching this work from a whole school, whole community, whole child model. And Angela, yes, lots of resources. Definitely, the Alliance for a Healthier Generation, we want to be your go-to provider for professional development and resources related to healthy eating and physical activity in the out-of-school time space. And there are a lot of things out there, so we want to make it easier for you to find the resource that meets your need, whether that's a blog article that you have 5 minutes to read, or a 10-minute video that you want to watch, or maybe even an in-person training that you can attend. So there's a lot of things out there. Finding what works for you can be the challenge. So hopefully in the next few minutes, you'll find some new resources. Hopefully you'll see some resources you're already familiar with and using, and perhaps be inspired by each other and what you're sharing in the chat box as well as to what's working in your local community. So I have a couple objectives for the next few minutes. One, I want to share and really celebrate some of the work that we've been doing with the National Recreation and Park Association around healthy eating and physical activity and out of school time. I'll talk a bit about the National After School Association standards for healthy eating and physical activity. And then my favorite part is I want you to learn at least 5 resources that you can try. And I think you'll learn more than 5, but definitely want you to leave it at least 5. So go to the next slide here. So I have another question for you. So children's health is important to me because I would love to know your answer to this question. Why is children's health important to you? And feel free to write in the chat box. Children's health is important to me because. Jackie, thank you. Yep, they become better learners. And we know that better learners mean better economic opportunity. So looking at this work from an equity lens, ensuring healthy kids have the opportunity to learn and succeed. After school plays a huge role in creating a more equitable society. Yep, it impacts a whole lifetime of health. Yeah, those habits that kids pick up in out of school, after school programs stick with them for the rest of their life. And they can take those home and share with their parents. And Kate, I think you summed it up really nice there. You care And I think all of us, if you're taking the time to join this webinar, you care about kids, the work you do is important to you. So my goal is to give you tools and resources that help you really support kids, have fun activities, enrichment activities that you can go to that also support the nutritional and physical activity needs of children. And Angela, I love these comments in the chat box. Children's health is important to me because they'll be taking care of us one day. And you say laugh out loud, but I think that's really important. This is a whole new generation that we're supporting, and we want a successful and thriving society, and health is certainly a cornerstone of that. Well, thank you for participating in that activity. And I would say feel free to use this if you're taking this content back and talking to others at your organization or your community. I love starting out this conversation with this question, just as we think kind of on the individual level about why this work is important. We know it's hard work supporting kids in the out-of-school time space. So if we can connect it with our own purpose and intention, it makes it a lot easier to keep up the hard work, keep up the work when things get challenging. So I want to celebrate a little bit with you all today, and maybe you've seen this announcement, but this month, Alliance for Healthier Generation and the National Recreation and Park Association are celebrating 5 years of a project called Commit to Health. And the goal of this project was for 2,000 park and rec agencies and sites across the country to begin to implement national standards for healthy eating and physical activity. And I'm excited to say that that goal was met and actually exceeded. So I believe it was 2,080 park and rec sites are now implementing these national standards. So if Park and Rec is a partner for you, Health and Wellness is a great opportunity for you to connect. And if you're not currently partnering with Recreation and Park, I really encourage you to do so. Thank you, Sandra. Yeah, we're really excited about this. And Park and Rec, they're such a cornerstone of our communities. Having them as champions for health and wellness in the out-of-school time space is really important. And we developed a lot of tools and resources together, and I'm going to talk about a few of those in the next few minutes. The link, if you want to learn more about Commit to Health, is up on your screen. You can also find that quickly at nrpa.org. So like I said, over 2,000 park and rec agencies have made this pledge. They're implementing these standards. That comes down to about 386 total agencies. So certain agencies have multiple sites. So if you are representing an organization that supports multiple sites or affiliates, this work is a really great way to bring all of your local agencies and staff organizations together and really get on the same page to prioritize healthy eating and physical activity. We call this a movement. We're all in this together. And we've been sharing a lot of lessons learned, success stories. We've got some war wounds of how to really roll out large-scale professional development. So if you're interested in learning more about the nuts and bolts of how we made this happen, I'm happy to connect offline. So the number of youth who now have improved access to healthy food and physical activity through this partnership is a little over 481,000 youth. So really excited about that. And you're thinking about the conversation about why children's health is important. Having almost 500,000 young people developing healthy habits, that's individual kids that are going to be growing up to lead the workforce, start their own business. We're really excited about the long-term impact of having that many young people now accessing healthier foods and physical activity opportunities. And speaking of physical activity, 96% of the sites we've been working with are now meeting the daily physical activity recommendations. And I'll talk specifically of what those are in a minute. But we're just really excited that the physical activity component of this work has been lifted up. In some cases, it's, especially for park and rec agencies, movement is such a key part of the work. It's a really great place to start. So if you're saying to yourself, wow, I really want to be a part of this work. I know we need to prioritize health and wellness. Integrating physical activity into programming is a really great way to get started. And it's a fun way to engage more staff in this process as well. So a little bit more data I'll share. The number of agencies offering nutrition enrichment has doubled. So we're really excited about out-of-school programs at rec agencies that are now doing fun nutrition enrichment, taste tests, gardening activities. About 50% of the sites we've worked with are offering gardening activities, and we know there's such a strong link between STEM education and nature and wellness. 86% are serving a fruit and vegetable, 87% are limiting screen time. So lots of progress has been made, a lot more work to be done. But I definitely invite you to be part of this work, and hopefully the resources I'm about to share will help you begin to serve more fruits and vegetables, offer gardening, nature activities, and limit screen time. And again, all this information, this infographic that I've broken down, you can find it in rpa.org, so don't feel like you have to write down all these numbers. All right, so here's my favorite part of this presentation, resources for every day of the week. And of course, you probably offer weekend activities. So hopefully you'll get even more than 5 resources to try. All of the tools I'm going to talk about, you can find on the Alliance for Healthier Generations website at healthiergeneration.org. I'll call this resource out too, actually. This is available at the After School Alliance. You can see the link down at the bottom of your screen. As you do this work, this is such an important data point to have, is the number of parents that really want healthy eating and physical activity in out of school time. So 8 in 10 parents want after school programs to provide opportunities for physical activity, and more than 7 in 10 want programs to offer healthy meals, snacks, and beverages. So again, as you build support and get others involved, I would print this infographic out, I would hang it up, I would share it. It's just a really important messaging point to say, you know, we want to meet parents where they are, and we know we need to prioritize healthy eating and physical activity because of so many benefits. And at the end of the day, parents want healthy options for their kids in this setting. So the playbook that we work off of, so if you're asked me, if you said, Daniel, how do I know what a healthy out of school time site looks like? The playbook that we've developed with our partners at the National After School Association, as well as other national out of school time thought leaders, is a set of standards for healthy eating and physical activity. You may have heard them called the HEPA standards. I like to say it out because HEPA means different things to different people, but healthy eating and physical activity. And so we've developed these standards, and I'll show you some of them in just a second, but we've developed a self-assessment tool. So I think I saw that the Kansas Enrichment Network has dialed in. So if you're providing professional development and supporting sites across the state of Kansas, if you want to get everyone on the same page, working from this playbook and utilizing the self-assessment is a great way for folks to really think about, are we offering physical activity during our programming time? Are we thoughtfully engaging families in nutrition and physical activity? Are we offering regular nutrition enrichment connected to academic areas like STEM? So this free downloadable self-assessment tool can help your staff and the sites that you work with really have that honest conversation of what health and wellness looks like. Now, I'll be honest that this is not meant to be a tool that is any way grading a site or holding them accountable. It's a self-improvement tool. It's all about continuous improvement. We want to build intrinsic motivation so that staff say, I know what healthy eating and physical activity after school look like, and I want to pick 1 to 2 goals for this year, and we're going to work to improve upon those. The vision here is not to say, wow, there's so many things we're not doing. The vision is to say, let's pick a couple things we want to work on and get the tools and resources to, again, make it easier to measure progress in your program. So this is all downloadable at healthiergeneration.org. You can also find this on the National After School Association's website. So here's an example of what the standards look like. I pulled these out because the resources I'm going to share kind of align with these standards. So one of the standards is around content and quality. So that's where the CQ comes from. So one standard reads, plan and provide time for physical activity. And we've actually broken it down depending on the duration of your program, how many minutes that means. And then because quality physical activity is also very important, there's a standard about moderate to vigorous activity and making sure we're offering at least 50% of that physical activity time as moderate to vigorous. So that breaks down those numbers as well. Outdoor physical activity is a really important standard. We know that kids who are outdoors are more active. Kids that live near parks and green space are more active. Outdoor activity is just more fun. There's a lot of links to STEM learning in nature. And then I also pulled out one of the standards here. This is called social support. So SS, that's what that stands for, is about family engagement components, being part of nutrition, education, enrichment, and physical activity. After school, leaders, you all know this, we have such an important connection to the family unit and parents. Engaging them in this process is really important. So hopefully you're with me so far. Actually, I'll stop here. If this is resonating with you, can you put a smiley face in the chat box? And if you have a question, feel free to put your question in the chat box as well. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Ryan. Awesome. I am glad you're with me so far. Again, the National After School Association standards for healthy eating and physical activity. It's a playbook that helps sites know it and think about opportunities for building on what they're already doing. So what happens after you take that self-assessment? What happens when you say, hey, we want to be a part of this work? You're like, okay, we know we want to work on physical activity. We feel like family engagement is an opportunity. Where do you go next? So I'm really excited to share these 5 new resources. They're just a couple months old. So the Alliance for Healthier Generation created a set of roadmaps that outline each section of the national standards. So I talked about content quality, I talked about social supports. There's also standards related to staff training, program supports, and environmental supports. So the physical environment, built environment. So these roadmaps kind of break down the standards and just give staff, families an idea of what you're working on, like what to prioritize, a little bit of rationale behind those standards, but also tips to take action and resources so to explore. So here's an example from the social support roadmap. We've listed 7 ideas to get started with implementing the social supports standards, and then a whole list of resources from Healthier Generation on-demand trainings to free resources like Plum Landings, Outdoor Family Activity Toolkit, to the NRPA, National Recreation Park Association Commit to Health Foods of the Month, Nutrition Enrichment Curriculum. So we want to make it as easy as possible for your sites and your organization to say, wellness is important, children's health is important to us, this is what we feel like we want to work on, what do we need to do, and how do we get access to the resources? So that's the vision behind these roadmaps. But what I think is most important, as we developed these roadmaps, in the what to prioritize section, we actually listed social emotional learning and social emotional health, because we know that goes hand in hand. How we do our work can be as important as what we're actually doing. So you'll find in the roadmaps, you'll find recommendations for integrating social emotional learning. There will be resources to explore at the end of the roadmap. We actually worked with Castle to help us source some initial resources that made its way into the roadmaps. So we're really, really excited about that. If this is your first time seeing these healthy out of school time roadmaps, would you put a smiley face in the chat box? All right. Well, I hope you enjoy looking through them and find them useful. I will welcome you to reach out to me, let me know what you think. If you say, Daniel, oh, you're missing this resource, or we've been working on social supports for a while, and here's a couple tips that we would recommend. I would love to learn from you to improve the next version of these. Luckily, we've been working with sites across the country that have really helped to inform this. But I meet new people every day and always want to be open to incorporating new ideas into these roadmaps. So please feel free to reach out anytime. So in addition to the roadmaps, we know that many organizations just want a short video or a 2-minute video, 3-minute video to learn resources and ideas to bring these standards to life. There's a set of free training videos. You can find them at nrpa.org. They're also up on YouTube, so they're easy to share. We developed a few of them focused on engaging families, connecting health and nature, increasing physical activity, and then adopting policies that support practices from the national standards. So definitely a great resource to check out. You could share this at a staff meeting. You could put this on social media. They're fun and quick videos. The connecting health and nature is one of my favorites. I mean, we show you how to regrow carrot tops and use carrot greens to make pesto and to do infused water. So they're very, very hands-on, simple activities that you can take and utilize. Another resource that I encourage you to check out is a new blog series that you can find at healthiergeneration.org. This series will go through the rest of the year, and it's focused on nature and wellness. We know STEM education, nature, outdoors go hand in hand with physical activity and nutrition. So this series talks through simple nature-based enrichment and recipes. I started an indoor garden back in January, and so this series follows me through starting the garden, tending the garden, using greens from the garden and recipes. So again, quick reads, but simple activities that hopefully will help you connect the dots between nature and wellness. And if you have a good idea that you want to share on the blog, I would love to hear that. And who knows, maybe I can spotlight one of your success stories on an upcoming article. I also wanted to share a document that Healthier Generation put together with our partners at the National After School Association, the After School Alliance, and the National Girls Collaborative project. It's called STEM and Wellness, a Powerful Equation for Equity. And here's the link. It's hosted on the National After School website. But in this document, we outline the case for integrating STEM and wellness and spotlight research, promising practices from the field, resources that you can check out, ideas for connecting gardening and healthy eating to sports and physical activity. It's a short document, but it's intended to give folks who want to play a role in connecting the dots between STEM education and health and wellness a tool to really build support and engage others. I also wanted to highlight the Healthy Out of School Time Coalition. So this is a group that includes the National Recreation and Park Association, Healthier Generation, the National After School Association, the National Institute on Out of School Time, CDC. We meet regularly to curate resources to support out-of-school providers in promoting healthy eating and physical activity. There's a website with monthly news. So right now, the hot topic is National School Breakfast Week. So if you're thinking about the role of out of school and before school in supporting school breakfast, in school meals, there's some great resources up on that website. Thanks, Sandra. You're putting those links in really quick. I appreciate that. So if you're looking for a free webinar, I wanted to highlight an upcoming opportunity on Thursday, March 28th in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. It's an interactive, fun webinar talking about nutrition enrichment and the federal nutrition programs. So if you're interested in more about the nutrition side of things, definitely sign up for this webinar. I believe it will be recorded, so if you can't make it, you can get the recording and share with others. Again, it's focused on the nutrition side of things, also aligned with National Nutrition Month. And you can get access to that at healthiergeneration.org. And if by chance you are attending the National Conference on Science Education with the National Science Teachers Association and you want to learn more about blending science and wellness, I'll be doing a live presentation with the National Girls Collaborative. They're focused on engaging girls in STEM. This will be in St. Louis in April. So if you're going, if you know of others who are attending and want to get them plugged into this event and session, I definitely encourage you to pass this on. If you've got questions, you can, of course, reach out to me. So here's my contact information. Like I said, I would love to learn from you, find out what's working, what's not working. There's my email, my Twitter handle. There's Healthier Generation's Twitter handle. We're always sending out recipes and new ideas via social media. And yeah, if you see that photo, that's actually my indoor garden. I had to move it outside to get some sun one day. Thank you for, Sandra, thank you for inviting me to share some resources. And I know we're going to do Q&A, so happy to keep this conversation going.
Thank you so much, Daniel. You had so many resources to share. Did everybody find 5 things that they can use in their program? We have a wealth of resources, and the links are in the chat box. You can download the chat box if you want to, but I will also be posting all of those recordings, all of those links with the recording of the webinar, so you can go back to the Click to Science webpage, find that recording, and have all the resources that you need to make use of this. It's really been a rich opportunity. And what I will follow up with Daniel about sharing his slides. What I would like you to do is let us know now in the chat box if you have any questions or if you have specific resources that you're looking for that would be helpful for your program. We have a real expert here in Daniel, and he can help us answer those questions now. So if you have any questions, share those in the chat box. If you have successes you'd like to share, I invite you to include those in the chat box as well. Where we're going to go next is figuring out what you can do to implement. What are the things that you can actually do next in your program, the one next step? So my top takeaway from this whole webinar was that I need to know what the national standards are for healthy eating and physical activity. And you can find those on the Healthier Generation website, or you can find those on the NAA website. They will help you focus on helping participants eat better and move more, and also help you know how you can support your staff in knowing about healthy eating and physical activity and how it supports children's social, emotional, and academic development. Just think for a moment, would it be beneficial for your program for your staff to be physically healthier as well? So there's lots of resources in those standards. I see where problems again. Let's see, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Sandra.
Okay. I will continue and hope that the recording is working. So, knowing the standards and knowing what you can do in your program, that's step one. Step two then is to set some clear goals. Start with the end in mind and set goals that are going to help the youth in your program, and then share those goals. Let other stakeholders in your community know what you're doing, especially families. Help them understand what changes you're making and why. One of the comments Daniel made earlier that really struck me, and I even wrote it down, was the idea of whole school, whole community, whole child. And we want to serve the whole school, the whole community, and the whole child through our health and nutrition efforts in after school. The next step, and then while you're setting your goals, again, the self-assessment is a great tool to kind of help you know where you're starting from as you set your action plan, and those roadmap resources from Healthier Generation will help you get there. So all of those pieces come together for figuring out what can we do and what can really make a difference for the youth in our program. Then connect with resources in your community. There are resources locally that can help you. For instance, the USDA has an expanded food and nutrition education program all across the country. It's called FNEP, and you can find those resources in your community. Experts with your local extension program that can help support you in growing your program and knowing what is available to help youth. And then engage with families. Let them know what you're doing, involve them in your plans, and have resources that they can use at home. Families can be your greatest ally in this effort, so have them be part of that process. And engage them not just in what you do, but in helping set the goals, helping decide what it is that you want to accomplish. Then focus on overall wellness, because if you can focus on overall wellness and integrate it into all aspects of your program, you're going to be more effective and you'll have more impact. And then measure your success and share your progress with families and other stakeholders so that they can continue to build your support and you can see the improvements that you're making. Don't hesitate to contact Daniel or to contact me if you have any questions. We want to support you in this, and we really want to see after-school programs making a difference in their community. I have one last question for the chat box. Do we have people who are heading out to NAA this week? It's time for NAA Convention. Is anyone going? We will be at NAA with Click to Science. We'll have a booth. And we also have a session on Saturday on creating a professional development plan for your program. And I would love to see you at NAA. Stop in and let us know that you are listening to our webinars. Give us some feedback if you have ideas for topics that you'd like to have covered. And also visit us at the booth. We're going to have some new resources that will help with your own professional development and help you get deeper into this profession. So we encourage you to come to the convention, look for Click the Science, and talk to us about what you're seeing in the webinars. Daniel, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. You just had so much information and resources. It's good to know that there is support out there for our programs. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next webinar Wednesday next month. We will be back again with a new topic and a new way to engage the staff in your program in building STEM for all children. Thank you.